What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for May 11th, 2020. Now, normally we would start out with a patch notes update, but today we're going to start out with a monthly report update, as we got the monthly report this week, and there's really no updates going on with 3.9.1. No idea of what's going to be in it and when we're going to have it. So starting out with animations, they continue to work on things like knockdowns and body dragging, and this basically, how I look at it is, these are some really nice steps, hopefully, towards true bounty hunting, where you actually have to capture a player, and possibly more medical gameplay, dragging a player off the battlefield and applying some sort of medicinal or medical gameplay to heal them. Moving on, we have environment art. Work on Pyro 1 and 2 are in progress. Now keep in mind, Pyro has 6 planets, so I don't really know how we're going to get the Pyro system. But maybe, I think it would be pretty cool if we just had it, and I think that would set a really nice precedence for future systems going forward, that you work on the planets, you get the kind of art, the gameplay in there that we already have existing in the Stanton system, and bring it to Pyro. But my expectation is it'll probably be a staggered release as well. And they're also adding new vegetation to these planets, and it looks pretty cool. It looks really alien, so it's kind of nice. Then moving on to ship art, we have from the UK team, most of the exterior of the Hercules is now in gray box, as well as the bridge is also in gray box, is gray box complete, which is pretty good. At the same time, the US team is kicking off the Mercury Star Runner from Crusader as well. So 2 Crusader ships being worked on by 2 different teams at the same time. This is pretty cool. The M50 updates and polish now, and the Cutlass Blue is still getting tweaks. Now, back-end services. Work began on the dynamic mission service. Now, I think this is a pretty big deal, because bringing that into the back end of the game, rather than whatever we saw at CitizenCon, which was some sort of like demo is what it looked like, right? Is pretty exciting. So maybe we'll see this show up on the roadmap for some time in 2020. I have my doubts, obviously, but that would be really awesome. Now, also, support for Theaters of War is happening on the back end, as we've heard from last week that we're expecting to kind of see something about Theaters of War really soon. Also, a bunch of iCache dev was happening, and that's really exciting, because this is probably the major pillar that we have a chance of getting this year, is some sort of full persistence, right? We're only in May, we have a lot of time to go before the end of the year, and for me, that's the one thing that maybe we can hang our hat on and hope that we get, given the scenario that's going on with the company and, just the world in general, right? Gameplay features. Support is finally coming for Arena Commander, Star Marine, and Theaters of War. These are all in progress. I say finally, but for me, Arena Commander and Star Marine are kind of dead games, don't really care. Personally, I think Arena Commander's starting to get a bit of a revival, because people are really interested in ship combat, and this is where they're doing their testing and their practice, because the frame rates are pretty good. And I just hope Theaters of War delivers, but I really just am remaining super cautiously optimistic about it, because of our past history with Arena Commander and Star Marine, and the lack of support that they got after a while. Prelim work for the new player trading app is also happening. This will allow us, if you guys don't know, to transfer money easily between players across an entire system, and I think they even said possibly from like Spectrum to in-game, and that will eventually turn into physical items as well. Level design. Orison is not dead. Now that New Babbage is done, most of the team is working on that, so obviously we don't have it on the roadmap yet, as they said that this was going to be planned for the end of the year. Some people are also finishing up Grimhex, which is adding the racing kiosk, adding hangars, and minor work on restricted area issues around the Stanton system is happening as well. System design. Refining kiosk is in progress. Now, this is a big deal, because we currently have a refinery kiosk, but this one will convert raw materials into a refined good that can be sold, that we are given back. We're not just giving unrefined ore to the refinery and getting money in return. I hope that that's an option as well. But in this scenario, we're getting back the actual refined material that can be sold for more. And I'm curious if this is a way to transfer mined material into cargo trading ships in the future. I think that will be really cool. And they also mention the future crafting of items. Now, my assumption is that they're probably talking about the way factories will craft items, but we can all hold out hope that there'll be some sort of crafting in Star Citizen. I know that's my personal really big want for the game, and I think it will help with the longevity of the game as well. Vehicle tech. Pressurized room systems seem like it's finally actually being properly implemented into the game, so that's when you depressurize, like air will vent out, and then you have to repressurize it, so you can take your face mask off, things like that inside your ship. Lastly, UI is still being worked on with the ships. Mainly, it looks like missile stuff. Maybe they will finally manage to stop the missile incoming indicator from constantly flashing on our screen when one person shoots a missile at us and it just doesn't happen to hit us or anything. It's a bug we've had for years, so hopefully that starts to really come along there. Now, these are just some of the things in the monthly report. Obviously, there is quite a bit more. The technical stuff is something that I kind of avoid because I can't really comprehend it and insert my opinion in there. So again, link will as always be in the description below for you guys to check it out for yourselves. Moving on, we had roadmap updates, and this one was a somber one. Well, I guess one positive thing is they finally changed from 4.0 to now 3.10 and 3.11, and that's pretty good. Obviously, we don't want to see 4.0 be kind of a meh patch because it's a milestone number. They also took the NPC scheduler off the roadmap, as well as shield tech. Now, this is the one I really want to touch on. This is so bad, because what it really looks like, because they said it needs additional VFX work, is that it needs to look good. We need it to work good. We don't necessarily care what it looks like, especially because of the state of shields in the current Star Citizen. That one's really annoying. That one's really upsetting, at least the delivery of it. There might be more to it than that, but what they gave us on the roadmap seems like it's the sign distance field thing for atmospheric entries that needs to look better, and not necessarily the shield tech and how it functions needs to function better. And that's kind of disappointing because combat is a big issue in Star Citizen, and this is a big piece to make that better. Realistic weapon handling's off the roadmap as well, and they've added the ocean shader tech to the 3.10 roadmap. And remember, when they said gameplay over visuals, me too. Stuff is also moving to polishing, which is actually a really positive one. It's the AI things that were on the 3.10 roadmap. These are going to polishing, and that's cool because a lot of AI work really needs to be done, but it also may not matter that much because our server tick rate is running so low that it seems like it's affecting them as well, right? Now, I want to touch on the negative sides of this. We just got 3.9 not too long ago, so it's very likely that the scenario now is where they're starting to realize what they can and they cannot do for 3.10. So it's very easy to realize what you can't do, so you take them off, and as work gets done, we're going to see things get added like this ocean shader tech. Now, this isn't something I care about, but we may see more things like actual gameplay get added to 3.10 soon, so I would just say remain patient on that one. 3.9 looked pretty rough as well, and in my opinion, it ended up being pretty good as far as the features that came online. Now, moving on, we have some video updates, but they're going to be pretty light today. For ISC, we're going to start out with ambient lighting, and this was a pretty cool demo that they showed, as well as it's just going to be neat. Check it out.
So the first new feature that we worked on was what we call runtime probes. This basically is an extra flag for the environment probe entity that you can enable, and this tells the entity to periodically update itself and recapture the ambient lighting based on several things, primarily the movement of the sun. So every few degrees that the sun moves in the sky, the probe will try and recapture that ambient lighting and reproject it into the environment.
Just another thing that'll improve our immersion inside landing zones and outposts and other places and locations inside Star Citizen. They also did something called day-night cycles, and we've talked about this previously, but they really touch on it here on ISC.
So the second major feature that we've been working on is what I call day-night light groups. This basically takes the existing light groups feature that we've had running previously in ships for things like damage states and emergency states, This allows us to use those same controls, but on a time of day basis, so we can choose a specific state for the light group to use during the day and for the nighttime. What this means for the lighting team is that we can add a whole new layer of complexity to environments, such as turning on overall city lights when it becomes nighttime and turning them off during the day, which saves performance because you can't see them anyway.
For me here, the huge takeaway is that it improves performance. That's all I really care about is let's get that performance optimization. Let's start working on those. It's less the way the game looks and feels for me now, and it's more the way it performs and plays and gameplay, right? And then they gave us a sprint report. These are really, really awesome. So they start out with some simple yoga outfits for NPCs at New Babbage. They're gonna kind of make those a little bit better. And then they move on to the first mission giver at New Babbage, Eddie Parr, who is a bartender and another unlawful mission giver. And leave a comment below. Are you guys tired about these? Like, it's just constant unlawful mission givers and story and not really anything positive and nice to get behind. It's just kind of getting annoying. There's also finishing touches going into the high-tech hangars. This is probably the first things that we're going to see from the sprint report coming into the game. And there's more work going on to the cargo decks inside the stations. They've basically moved from concept into white box at this point. Another look at gas tech as well that we saw from SCL last week. And then finally, just more Planet Tech V4 hype map work that's making these planets and moons look really fantastic. We also had an SCL this week, and it was on the music. I don't really touch on these in the shows as they don't really add any discussion or, you know, real talking points for week in review. So obviously I will leave the link in the description below if you like the music and want to hear from the composer, Pedro Camacho, who is a long-time, I guess, employee or someone who's been adding music to the game, and it's been really awesome. Now, moving on to other updates, we're kind of full here, is, well, people made and pointed out the fact that there is record funding in Star Citizen still. Every single month has been a record month for Star Citizen, and I just want to point out, I mean, I think it really shows that the game is selling itself, and it's not the commercials or video content that they're making anymore. The fact that they're consistently making money, I think, tells us that, is that something's changed. And the only thing that's really changed is the actual product. They also, apparently there's a new CIG Contractor called, I forgot the name, like Bright something. And the company's focused on VR and racing games, it seems. And I didn't read too much into this personally because I don't really like to get involved as much in the business side of CIG. I don't think we have all the information there, and it's usually just really... I come from like an ignorant point of view when it comes to a lot of those things. But I'll leave the link in the description again for the Reddit post so you can investigate more yourself if you're interested in that. Again, we had the Hercules sneak peek, which was really cool. This cargo deck looks massive. I'm really excited. This is one ship that I'm pretty excited to see. And then lastly, we had a Galactapedia update. So feel free to check those out. Now, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really appreciate you watching. As always, make sure you guys check me out on Twitch. I stream every day but Monday, starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time until around noontime. And yeah, that's going to be really where the main content is coming from. As the people who do watch my Twitch channel may know, is I have officially been furloughed from my job now. And they were paying us a little bit, or my $5 an hour that I make dealing poker. And for the last, I guess, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. And this past week was the last one. So I decided to make kind of a drastic move and get a job at a grocery store. And we're going to be making, you know, very little money doing that, but that's not really the concern. It's about making sure that this situation that's going on doesn't affect us financially, that I get to keep my home that I love so much, and my very, very modest lifestyle of hanging out and playing video games with you guys. So this is really just a note that you might get a little influx of videos right now. I don't know what's going to happen, not even with Week in Review in the future, because I don't know what my schedule is going to be like and all that. So it's just kind of putting that out there and making sure that you guys are aware what's going on there. And again, feel free to check out my Twitch channel. We do stream quite a bit. And, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're looking for more weeks in review, and leave a comment below and let me know what you guys think about any of the subjects that we talked about today. So sorry for the Debbie Downer stuff at the end there, but I actually think it's a really big positive because the company I'll be working for is a really great one, and maybe I can get out of dealing poker sometime in the near future. So that's something, there is a silver lining here. So everyone, have a great one, and I will catch you guys next week.